Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, family. For today's video, we're diving into the Leo full moon. And this full moon is happening on February 16th at 11:56 a.m. Eastern time. So please translate that to your local time zone so that you're working with the right time. And this full moon is going to be happening at 27 degrees. Now, 27 in numerology boils down to the single digit number 9. And the reason why we look at the degree is because it just gives us, further insight into the energies that are going to be at play during this full moon. And numerology is actually a really good thing to incorporate with your astrology, just because when you start paying attention to the degrees at which planets sit and then looking at the numerology aspect of it, it really does give you kind of like a better view. I wanted to say a 360 view, but it gives you a better, comprehension on kind of what is going on, not only with the transiting planets like full moons and other things that are happening, but also within your own individual natal chart. Looking at the degrees that those planets in your own natal chart sit will give you insights to your own personality and some of the things or lessons that you've come to learn. So just want to put that out there. So at 27 degrees, like I said, the number that this boils down to is the number 9. And 9 in numerology is tied to completion. It's tied to accomplishment. It's also tied to wisdom. And it's wisdom because you've gone through these experiences, you've learned these lessons, and now you have this knowledge. And wisdom is knowledge applied. So this is taking all of those things that you've acquired knowledge-wise and actually applying it, right? And then also the number 9 is tied to the heart center, and it stimulates the heart center in the way that 9 is really concerned about, compassion and really pouring out into others and helping others. It's that heart activation that the number 9 encompasses. It's really about that humanitarian heart. Leo, on the other hand, is about heart stimulation as well. And the Leo heart stimulation is really about showing others love and warmth and that type of love, but it also is about love for self and really, pouring into self and really loving self as much as loving others. So the whole thread of love is going to be within this message as we see how these energies play out. And one thing that's really interesting is that this is also really close to Valentine's Day, right? It's falling 2 days after Valentine's Day. And this holiday and the month of February has been one where we have been told to focus more on, basically outpouring into others. How much love are we giving to other people, showing our love to others? So it's really interesting that this moon is flipping that mirror and asking you, so as you pour into others, you're pouring into yourself, right? You're also giving as much to others as you give to yourself, right? So the Leo full moon is definitely going to focus on that love piece, but a lot about that self-love piece and balancing. Now, the number 27 has shown up quite a few times in this chart when I was looking at the chart for this full moon. And I thought that was very telling, right? Because this moon, the Leo moon in particular, is not making any, it's not making any aspects to any of the other planets that we would want to highlight. But this number 27, this 9, this 9 energy was found 5 different times in the chart. So when I was looking at it, we have, the moon at 27 degrees Leo. We have the sun in opposition to the moon at 27 degrees Aquarius. We also have the north and the south node, both at 27 degrees, and the north node is sitting in the sign of Taurus, and the south node is sitting in the sign of Scorpio. So those are both at 27 degrees. And lastly, at 27 degrees, we have Pluto in Capricorn. So there is a lot going on there about this wisdom piece, about this completion piece, also about learning and this heart activation piece in terms of both sides of the coin, okay? So one last thing to note about what was going on in the chart that I also found added another layer was that Venus, the planet of love, love for others and love for self, and our values and all of that good stuff, and Mars was having an exact conjunction. They're making an exact conjunction at 16 degrees Capricorn. So when this conjunction happens, they're, blending their energies, for those of you who are new to astrology. Don't want to assume that you know, okay? So I want to dive into all of this and what this means and kind of the themes and the things that you can take out of it as you, work with this energy for this moon cycle, okay? So let's just dive on in. So the Leo moon and Aquarius sun. So for those of you who are new, I will also say full moons are a time when the moon and the sun are in direct opposition, okay? So wherever you have the moon for a full moon, you will have the sun in the polarity or the opposing energy. And for this Leo moon, that means that the polarity is Aquarius. And Aquarius, that's where the sun is sitting, also at 27 degrees. Now the full moon, that opposition between the sun and the moon, they're kind of facing each other, that mirror to each other. It really is a time where we are asked to reflect on the imbalances present between those opposing energies or those polarities. So with Aquarius, that sun sitting in Aquarius, that really is a lot focused on others. It's focused about the collective, about the group, about the whole. And Leo's energy is very much opposite. It's focused about the individual. And so it really is about coming into balance between those two, the whole, the collective, and the individual. And both are important, but they have to be balanced properly. You can't be too heavily skewed on one side or the other. If you're just pouring out into others or worried about others, but not about self, then self suffers. And if you're just worried about self and not helping others, then others suffer. So it's really about coming into balance. And that's what full moons really ask us to look at on a deeper level. On the surface level, it is also a time for celebration. It is a time of culmination, peak energy. It's when the moon is at its fullest. It's a time to double down on your intentions or things that you're working on. It's really a time of gratitude too. So it's all of those things, but really the deepest lesson is the balance piece, the balance between those opposing energies, okay? Leo really is about wanting us to focus on the individual. What we have been, I didn't want to say the word brainwash, conditioned to believe is that we always have to take a back seat in terms of, putting others first, putting others' needs first, kind of taking the silent approach, sitting in the back, being quiet, being the supportive role, and allowing the others to take the lead, allowing others to move forward, and just kind of being in the shadows and just pouring out into others. And yes, to a certain degree, again, balance. And Leo wants us to start focusing more on putting some of that energy back into self. Not being afraid to celebrate our individuality, to shine as who we are authentically, our uniqueness, our creativity, our talents, our gifts, all of those things that we bring to the table that makes us so beautifully unique, but also is what's important when we contribute, when we work with the whole, when we work with the team, right? As we're working with others. So remember, a group or a whole is made up of a bunch of little parts. And with that, our individuality is what gives us our influence, what gives us our leadership, what helps us move the needle forward when we're working on things in a group setting, when we're thinking about the collective, right? we have to not be afraid to bring that uniqueness, to bring that individuality, to bring that creativity to the forefront. But most importantly, in order to be comfortable doing that, we have to value that within ourselves. We have to celebrate that within ourselves and be proud of that, right? So this is how we really build and work together, is by being strong individually and then coming together. A lot of us are so just infused, I want to say, like, merged so effortlessly into our groups, into our families, into, others' energies, our partners, that we don't even know what our own individual strengths are. We don't even know what our own individual beauties are, because we have just merged so fluidly with others, because we're told to just follow the pack, and I'm telling you, don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to take lead. Don't be afraid to be who you are, and be creative and bring your gifts, because we all have different gifts. We all have different talents, and that's what needs to be shown. Like, we need to see more of that from each other, right? And I think this is really interesting because the North Node, right? I talked about this at the beginning. The North Node is in Taurus, right? And the North Node represents our path forward, where we should be headed towards, where we should be aspiring to, the things that we should be acquiring, under our belt in terms of skills and stuff to move us forward. The South Node is what we should be leaving behind. This is, a lot of the things that we've already mastered, that now we're too heavily skewed, or we have too much of that, and now we need to balance and gain a little bit more of the polarity, the opposing energy, right? So Taurus and Scorpio are also polarities, and some of those Scorpio traits we need to leave behind collectively and move in more of our Taurian energy, which really speaks to the self-worth piece. Because when we are coming from this Scorpio South Node energy, we are really working on leaving behind the need to be validated, having our self-worth validated through others, right? And really now starting to validate and value ourselves and get our own self-worth and pour into our own buckets. When we're leaving behind that South Node Scorpio, we leave behind the manipulative forces. We leave behind having to play second or play small, being in the shadows, and just being so, again, effortlessly merged with others that we don't even know. We can't even pull ourselves out of that. So with North Node and Taurus, it's asking us to move towards honoring ourselves, validating ourselves, recognizing our talents and our gifts, and celebrating that and showing up as that every day, okay? So you're leading change through your confidence of who you are. And that's what Leo is all about, that confidence, leadership, individuality, creativity. We're pushing forward. This is how you build effectively. And this is going to be really important for us to keep in mind, especially as Saturn is continuing to move through the sign of Aquarius, where we're building. Saturn is where we build. Saturn is where we're building, and we're building collectively as it's moving through Aquarius, and we're building something new. So it's important that we do something new, right, to get different results. What else is adding to this is Pluto. Pluto, again, I said it was at 27 degrees as well. So again, we're tying that wisdom back in here, right? So Pluto represents our personal power, and Capricorn is really about building and also how we work, how we work, what we're contributing, right? So here, this is really focused on us transforming the way we work, but really also just transforming our subconscious beliefs about how we have to work with others, how we have to contribute, how we have to show up. It's really about shifting the paradigm here, taking our personal power, transforming into something new, okay? So this is about utilizing your natural gifts and abilities to achieve goals, to attain true success, okay? Because if you're not showing up as yourself authentically, what are you doing? If you're not bringing your full self to the table, the individual you, what are you doing, okay? And then Venus and Mars. And Venus is, like I said before, it is all things self-worth, values, love, not only love for others, but love for self, you know? And Mars, which is our drive, our determination, our energy, where we really drill down and focus and what we put our energy towards. They are beautifully aligned in the sign of Capricorn. Again, how we contribute, how we work, how we build, right? So here it's putting a spotlight on those gifts, the creativity, the things that make us uniquely us, and using that in our favor and our power, building upon that, expanding on that, making more of that happen. And in addition, using those things like our magnetism, our charm, and all of that, it sparks that up so that we can have influence and make strides forward, okay? So this is a really beautiful energy to work with and to just, you know, really get on board with self. To get on board with self. Again, we want to have a healthy balance. We don't want to dive too far into the whole, you know, I'm on the self, you know what I mean? Self-train. It's really about just honoring yourself, recognizing your unique gifts and all of that you bring to the table, and shining and showing that and showing up as that every single day in everything that you do. That's really what it's about. And for those of you who are kind of on the opposite end, who are too self-involved, you know, who are too much on the self-train, this is the time for you to reflect and balance on, like, how can I shift some of that power to others? Okay, so the crystal that I would recommend you working with for this Leo moon and your rituals and everything that you're doing is Tiger's Eye. And Tiger's Eye really stimulates that solar plexus chakra, which is connected to that, you know, it's right underneath the heart chakra. So they're very closely aligned, and that's gonna also bring in some more of what we talked about. But this is your willpower center. This is your personal power center. So this is gonna encourage us to move boldly and encourage us to overcome any of those fears or any of those, you know, subconscious beliefs, limiting things that we are holding on to that is keeping us from really stepping into our power, really keeping us from, you know, valuing ourselves and showing up as who we are authentically. So the affirmation that I will leave you with for this Leo full moon is, I effortlessly balance my own needs and the express needs of others, okay? And one more thing before I wrap up this video, I would like to invite you to do, because the moon, the full moon in particular, is a time of celebration. Like I said, it is when the moon has hit its peak energy. It is a time of gratitude. It's just a time to just look at all of the things that you've put into motion and, you know, be thankful for that and express gratitude for that, or celebrate the wins, or double down on the work that was started and strengthen that, right? And you can look back to 6 months ago at this corresponding Leo new moon and see what did you put into motion then and how far you've come. So that's one way to celebrate or show gratitude or double down on stuff. But another thing that I'd like to invite you to do is I want you to identify one unique thing about yourself that you love. It could be anything, any gift, any talent, anything that you do. Doesn't matter, right? Just identify something that you love about yourself. And I want you to spend some time during this Leo moon celebrating that. I want you to celebrate that. And I also want you to think about additional ways that you can bring more of that to the forefront in your daily life, in your interactions, in your, you know, your settings, whether with your family or at work or with your friends, when you're a part of the group. How do you bring more of that to the forefront and celebrate more of that individuality and uniqueness, okay? So that is your homework. And please let me know down in the comments below, what is one thing that you really love about yourself that you'll be celebrating? Please share that if you feel comfortable. And if my Leos are in the house, I would like you to leave your little placements down below. So where's my Leo gang? I know you guys are not to be missed because you show up. You show up, you step out, right? So if you have a Leo moon, let me know down below, or any other Leo placements. And I hope you all have a great Leo full moon, and I will see you in the next video really, really soon. Have a good one.